Приветствую вас! Я Павел Долгов, топ-эксперт по коммуникациям, действующий предприниматель, вице-президент Ассоциации экспортеров и импортеров. Я не просто теоретик, я практик. Мои компетенции – конгрессно-выставочная деятельность и событийная отрасль, совокупный опыт более 20 лет. Общественная деятельность, международные связи и бизнес-миссии, совокупный опыт более 10 лет. Я соучредитель ряда компаний в конгрессно-выставочной, событийной отрасли и цифровизации. И более 10 тысяч проведенных мероприятий. Я являюсь одним из создателей и бессменным главой оргкомитета ежегодной выставки форума Международный день импорта и экспорта, а также спикером конференций и форумов. Чем я буду полезен вам? Поиск партнеров в России и за рубежом, локализация предприятий, деловая переписка и маркетинговые исследования, создание и управление проектами. Все это ко мне. Наша команда. Я и мои коллеги делимся экспертизой. Я сэкономлю ваши нервы и деньги. Мы поделимся своими контактами для развития вашего бизнеса. Со мной гораздо эффективней и безопасней. Нужна помощь или совет? Пишите и подписывайтесь. Я всегда в доступе. И вступайте в ассоциацию экспортеров и импортеров. Вместе эффективнее. На связи.
Что для вас важнее всего? Свобода выбора? Быть собой и дышать полной грудью? Свобода совершать открытия и достигать собственных вершин? Или это забота о том, кто рядом? Может, о тех, кто так далеко, но так близко к сердцу? Или это уверенность в завтрашнем дне? Сегодня, в условиях постоянно меняющегося мира, нам необходима надежная поддержка, которая появляется благодаря проверенным и честным партнерским отношениям, даря уверенность, а самое главное – делая вас свободным, чтобы сохранить для вас самое ценное – время. Ваш партнер Камертон Плюс. 20 лет в сопровождении международных сделок.
У нас один микрофон.
Два, три. Ир, ты здесь была.
Микрофон. Сейчас с Павлом, это всегда вначале. С Павлом,
Этих спикеров поймай.
Что для вас важнее всего? Свобода выбора? Быть собой и дышать полной грудью? Свобода совершать открытия и достигать собственных вершин? Или это забота о том, кто рядом? Может, о тех, кто так далеко, но так близко к сердцу? Или это уверенность в завтрашнем дне? Сегодня, в условиях постоянно меняющегося мира, нам необходима надежная поддержка, которая появляется благодаря проверенным и честным партнерским отношениям, даря уверенность, а самое главное, делая вас свободным, чтобы сохранить для вас самое ценное – время. Ваш партнер Камертон Плюс. 20 лет в сопровождении международных сделок.
Коллеги, и с вами по-прежнему я, Павел Долгов, вице-президент Ассоциации экспортеров и импортеров. Мы второй день ведем эфир.
This is our second day from the International Trade Center. It will be later recorded for you. We begin a major block dedicated to foreign exporters. I want to say that we can efficiently work in Russia. How to successfully work in Russia? I introduce Natalia Ivanova, my colleague and co-moderator. The floor is yours, Natalia.
Будем передавать микрофон тогда.
We'll swap microphones.
Коллеги, рада всех
I'm glad
видеть тех, кто в зале.
to welcome you.
Наша сессия
This session
сильно выбивается из всего, что мы уже
goes beyond
Мы сегодня
our discussions
людях, которые
yesterday and today. We'll speak from those about those who come to Russia to export, to produce something here, and then maybe export. But first of all, we speak about import replacement programs. Starting 2015 through 2018, 1.6 trillion rubles were invested. There are many special economic zones, etc. We had seaport special zones. Of course, it's in 2019 and 2020, 1.3 trillion rubles was invested, but all the cases we're going to consider are not even. In some regions, they work successfully with foreign companies and Russian companies who become partners, and there are regions which need to improve. And we'll start with a professional who comes from Novosibirsk province. Nadezhda Zuyeva, head of Moscow representative office of Novosibirsk province investment agency. I want to visit Novosibirsk, given the beauty of the girls there. The floor is yours, Nadezhda. Dear colleagues, I want to thank the organizers for the opportunity to appear today. The presentation I'm going to make, I hope, will be useful to all the people present.
Да, вот теперь уже ближе. Хотела бы сначала
I would
все-таки
like first to tell you about the organization I represent. Investment Promotion Agency of Novosibirsk region. We are established by the government of the region. We've been around for 15 years, and we support companies in business development in Novosibirsk region. We accompany projects at all stages, from localization platforms, technology, finance partners, state support, and interaction of companies with bodies of power. It is done free of charge since we are at the government, and this can affect the deadlines of the investor because he can concentrate on business and not be detracted by other things, which we do. About Novosibirsk province, why is it attractive for potential investors? What preferences we have? It is geographically in the center of Russian Federation. We have common border with Kazakhstan. Novosibirsk is not only a cultural, scientific, educational, administrative center of Siberia, but also a large consumer market. Within 700 kilometers, about 13 million people reside. In the Far East, the population is twice as less, although the territory is 40% of the territory of the country. Novosibirsk is at the intersection of major transport corridors, automobile, federal railway, international airport Tolmachovo. We have access to foreign markets, Kazakhstan, China, Mongolia, and the countries of Asia down south. There's a developed transport infrastructure, which is an advantage of our region, which enables the companies when placing industries to reduce by 1.5 times the cost of delivery and by 20-30% reduce transportation costs. In addition, Novosibirsk is a educational center, cadre center, which is a potential for development. We have many research institutions, secondary and higher educational institutions. We have created the first biotech campus, Koltsova, with virus and biotechnology center Vector, the largest in the world, which developed the second Russian vaccine against COVID. Despite qualification of cadre, the cost of labor resources is lower than in Russia by 20%, compared with Russian Siberia by 30-40%. It's important that for any investor, it is significant to have prepared platforms with infrastructure and facilities. I would like to dwell upon such platforms in our region. First, it's logistic park of Novosibirsk, the largest industrial parks beyond Urals, more than 1,000 hectares, at 6 kilometers from the international airport, and Trans-Siberian Railway runs through it, and the federal highway to Omsk and Central Russia. Currently, 25 companies implement their projects here. In addition to retailers and producers from Russia, there are such holdings like Mars, PepsiCo, Arnek, Alutech. The total investment is close to 1 billion euro. About 490 million has already been invested. As the organizers said, in Russia, there are many preferential zones. In Novosibirsk province, it's 2 territories in Gorny and Lynnevo. They are approximately equally far from Novosibirsk at 70 kilometers. They have special tax privileges. Here, you can reduce the insurance premiums to 7.6 and 0 the land profit taxes. I would like to note that for such residents, we have created facilitated procedures to obtain land on platforms. Particularly, the residents can get land without sales for rent. Rent is 1/40th of a percent of the cadastre cost, so it's a token price. Two more platforms which are specialized. One is the Biotechnopark in Koltsovo Science Campus for biotech, pharmaceutical, medical projects. There is a lab facility, exhibition hall, rental spaces and land. Currently, there are 13 companies, including a major distributor, Katren. Another resident is Angea Line, which produces medical equipment for cardiology, coronary stents and catheters, and they occupy 70% of Russian market. Currently, the first stage of the park has already been developed. We are now working on the second stage. We have the land allocated, 20 hectares, and we work with potential investors. So if there is interest, we are ready to consult you in detail. Another platform is Academ Park, one of the most successful academic parks in Russia, which specializes in information technology, instrument building, nanotechnology, and new materials. And there are more than 300 companies resident of this technopark. Of course, these are not all the platforms where we can develop. The Agency of Investment Development selects optimal localities for production or distribution, depending on requirements of the investor to the engineering and transportation infrastructure, to land and production. We have more than 580 platforms and sites, and we can select the right option, which is most optimal. And I can't help mentioning the regional preferences. In addition to territories I just mentioned, Linyova and Gorny, in any site in this region, the investors can use additional privileges. They can zero the property tax. They can reduce profit tax from 20 to 5% using the investment tax privileges. They can use part of the money they already invested for equipment, for construction of infrastructure, leasing, etc. We work in a targeted way with each investor. We have individual approach to each project, and we select the right toolkit of state support for the given investor, depending on the distinctive features of the investor and scales. We have here the companies which implement projects here. And I would like to wrap up with the slide listing the key benefits for invested in our region. I won't repeat myself since we're pressed for time. Thank you, Nadezhda. Novosibirsk impresses a lot. While Nadezhda is here, you can approach her. Indeed, it's very impressive. Pavel, we must agree with the agency and sign an agreement so that amongst the residents in the future presentations, our members would also be present. Another successful region in Russia is not one, but several regions. It's so-called Yenisei Siberia, managed by the Yenisei Sibir Development Corporation, young people. We have been cooperating for a long time. I hope our colleague can hear us. Alexei Nikolaev, Deputy Director General for Investments in Yenisei Siberia Corporation. The floor is yours. We hope your conditions are no less interesting. Dear colleagues, I hope you can hear me all right. I would like to show the possibilities of the three regions, Khakassia, Tiva, and in terms of investment attraction and re-export. I show you the presentation now. Can you see the presentation? Dear colleagues. Yes, we see all right. Yenisei Siberia is a territory along the river Yenisei, uniting historical, economic, and infrastructure potential of three regions, Krasnoyarsk, Khakassia, and Tiva. It occupies 15% of Russia, with a population of 3.7 people, and 3% of GDP is generated. The economy is based on the raw materials, minerals. The local product is formed through extraction and processing of minerals and energy. The Yenisei Siberia Corporation has a pilot program of interregional cooperation in order to open up the potential of three regions and to ensure high economy rates. It was supported by Vladimir Putin and the government of Russia. There are 32 large investment projects initiated by private business, including leading global companies, industrial companies. The total cost of investment project is $30 billion. Until 2027, investment potential on the whole, taking into account other projects beyond this list, is $60-70 billion. Prospectively, we want to launch mining, metallurgy, wood industry, in energy sector, agriculture, transport, and social infrastructure. The coordinating center is the corporation. The main players are in this slide. The global business can actively participate in these projects as investors, industrial partners, or suppliers of technologies and equipment. I would like to speak in greater detail about some sites based on which it's possible to implement such projects aimed at import replacing products in the domestic market and also for export production. The first site is Krasnoyarsk Technology Valley, initiated by Rusal, aimed at the creation of deep processing of aluminium. In December 2020, a special economic zone was created, which enables the residents to have some tax preferences. The site is in Krasnoyarsk, which makes it accessible for transport, aviation, highway transport. We plan to place anchor investment project on deep processing, like thin forgery, wheels and equipment. We also plan to have a logistics center, industrial park, and customs zone. There is a prospective northern site which can be developed. It's 150 hectares in total. The site is in the metallurgy plant near the largest aluminium plant of Krasnoyarsk. For residents, there is access to primary resource aluminium. The land is cheap. There is exemption from VAT and customs duties, and the local budget will ensure all the infrastructure engineering. It will allow you to reduce the tax burden. The regional profit tax will be zero. Rents will be exempted from property and land taxes. The requirements to residents are capital investments at least $1.5 million of investment. Second project is a group project aimed at the transport logistics hub based on two airports, Krasnoyarsk and Cheremshanka nearby. Under this project, we plan to allocate some of the territory special economic zone status, and the residents of this project are logistic companies, trade companies, and companies producing industrial goods. Currently, in the special economic zone, declarations of intentions were given by Transcontainer, FSK, and others. The profile of residents in this zone is air cargo. The airport is at the intersection of Transpolar and Europe-Asia flights. It's forwarding integrators and warehouse operators. For narrow production specialization, we see cosmetics, hygiene, pharmaceutical, electronic, vehicles, equipment for the mining sector, and medical equipment. The hub will be placed in 40 kilometers from Krasnoyarsk. The main advantage is the unique location of Krasnoyarsk on the global transport routes. The Trans-Siberian Railway, Federal Highway, and transcontinental air routes. For residents, as in the Krasnoyarsk technology value, it will be possible to have property, profit and land tax privileges, and there will be a free customs zone. Another project we are developing is creation of agro-industrial park Siberia, 250 kilometers west of Krasnoyarsk, with advanced development territory. It's near Berezovskaya hydro thermal power plant owned by German holding IOM, and currently we see the main specialization on deep processing of produce, which is one of the leaders of the Siberian Federal District. As an advantage of this site, I want to mention that the infrastructure in this site plans private investment and access to such technology products as heat and steam. The residents are Siberian agrarian group on deep processing of grain and creation of greenhouses, which plan to create one of the largest greenhouse complexes in Siberia for closed soil. Alexei, unfortunately, we don't have your presentation. Can you share it with us? Because I see in the chat there are questions on aluminium and agrarian zone. Without your presentation, we cannot answer these questions. I will send the presentation to Pavel. I would like to describe two more sites in Khakassia where I am now, and I just came back from. It shapes attractive conditions to develop export-oriented production. The first one is the Abaza Territory Advanced Social Economic Development, 150 kilometers southwest of Abakan, which is presented as non-raw material economy center and with the sphere of possible specialization of the resident is metal processing, construction material, wood processing, agricultural product processing, and processing of wild growing plants which are abundant in the mountains, and also production of foods and drinks. The advantages of the region are the preferences that this territory gives you, possibility of preferential loans since it's a monocity, transport communications, and free industrial sites with energy capacities. The residents can be any project with $55,000, which creates at least 20 jobs. The second project is Chernogorsky Town Industrial Park, which is a mono city. Second, in terms of population in Khakassia, it has industrial sites from 6 hectares and up to build industries like Greenfield project. All the communications to this area have already been connected. Sewage, electricity, water, federal highway, and also loading station on the southern stretch of the Trans-Siberian route. It's 20 kilometers from airport, 25 kilometers from Abakan, which creates favorable conditions in terms of staffing. The advantages for residents are exemption of rent during construction, possibility to buy this land and connection to networks, construction materials, polymer and metal products, and storage and processing of produce is the main spheres. The Yenisei Siberia is a reliable partner of Russian and foreign companies. We can be your guides in the economy of Krasnoyarsk, Khakassia, and Tuva economy. You can ask me with any questions. Thank you for the opportunity to talk. Thank you, Alexei, for your useful presentation. And we received feedback, questions from potential investors. So your site is very much in demand. Go next, Tatiana Kopacholko, who works with many regions. Tatiana, the floor is yours. Afternoon, dear colleagues. I want to say that every region in Russia, when we consider it as investment project, is always interesting. We can speak about Western Kaliningrad, Far East, Siberian regions. Everyone has its project. The investor must select geographically and the subject and the tasks. To this end, I suggest to make an information website where you can enter and see each region. The Association of Importers and Exporters has such a site. You can always make it more detailed. It will be very interesting because any region is going to open up. Investors will be looking what they need. It also depends on the large size of the country, 1/6 of the earth. So we have 84 regions. Will take much time. I want to focus on Kaliningrad, the westmost region. There is an interesting project for Russian investors, for foreign investors, because this territory is in the European part, and the investors who pay attention to the Western European countries might benefit from production in Kaliningrad because it's a low salary and the privileges of the region. The best options are the residents of special economic zone has tax privileges in tax on property, and property is 0 for 6 years and then up to 12 years. So we can see how attractive it is. Most importantly, even for Russian investors, it can be interesting because there are 500,000 subsidies for resettlement for young professionals. Construction is running fast. We have a good young business support programs. I will be brief if you let me. In Kurgan province, they have their own preferences because they border on China, Kazakhstan, Malaysia. In the Far East is access to the Pacific with enormous potential for investors. It's the most delicious thing. Tatiana, I think the most important suggestion has already been voiced. Pavel, are you ready to do a platform solution on your site? Let's go on. Thank you for your brief presentation. Give the microphone to your neighbor. Please, let's listen to foreigners who come to our territories and can tell us what's good and what's not. Levarta Sartoya represents Indonesia, head of the Importers and Exporters Association. Thank you indeed. Representing the interests of such a global country like Indonesia, which is the fourth country in terms of population and is developing dynamically, was very interesting to invite Indonesia for cooperation with the Association of Importers and Exporters, which is rather young, but it is a global heir to the Global Moscow Organization, which turned 30 years last year. And I would like to speak about this organization because I represent Indonesia, but the association represents interaction of interests of different countries and continents. What's this association? It's more than 60 branches and partners in Russia, practically in all regions of Russia, in all units, more than 40 partners worldwide in different countries. We are looking into these matters continuously, increasing the number of countries, partner organizations worldwide. We widen our contacts and we widen it through expert practice. What are we doing? We, for our foreign partners, do marketing understanding of how to work in the Russian market, how to enter our markets, what support they can get in this or that region, because regions differ, they have their own distinctive features. Moreover, we immediately work on looking for business partners in these regions. If we have a foreign request, we have a large, experienced database of partners we can connect with. Can we accelerate, because we started late, from the practice? Since you're in Russia, Indonesians understand that you represent their countries, member of the association. What questions they usually ask you? Okay, you found a partner. What next? While we have representatives of regions, they must understand what to focus on if, say, an Indonesian company comes. As a representative of the Asia region, Indonesia faced, first of all, that there is a certain difference in cultural perceptions between Indonesia and Russia. It's one of the determining factors. The business approach is different. To start business in Russia, you need your own instruments. They differ from the instruments when we enter from Russia to Indonesia, because there is a long entry. You need certain relations to be established before you start business issues. By simple analogy, to understand it, if you want to be friends with a girl, or a girl wants to be friends with a young man, they must tie their relations, establish relations. They must get to know each other more. They must know each other's hobbies, must know each other's families. The same here. To have long and good relations, you need long-term approach. Indonesians do it this way. It's impossible to explain to people because they want to do it fast. We have a good, you have a price, let's start working. No, unfortunately, it doesn't work this way. It's a long entry. First, they study the partner with all nuances. Does it mean that all investment attraction representatives, if they want to work with the Indonesian companies, must learn this business dance, not being too hasty, but first build friendly relations. Yes, I agree. To start serious long-term business, you must begin with it. It's not enough to talk over Zoom, not enough to speak about prices and goods. You must visit. You can go to the island of Bali, etc. Yeah, that's the way it is. As for the documentary part, legislation, documents the companies have to process. Are there any issues here? The legislations are quite different. In Russia and Indonesia, the legislations are different. Russian companies to enter the Indonesian market takes a lot of issues. One of the aspects, very interesting aspects, is halal. Halal production, which is developing worldwide. We understand this culture is developing fast. Indonesia has such production. In Russia, it also exists. It is developing. There is a whole region of Tatarstan, which is very advanced here. And if you begin talking about other regions, I would start with this nuance. Very interesting. Indeed, since you are a member of the association, head of a department, maybe we'll have a round table before the autumn session, inviting the republics where it's developed. Moreover, I would like to thank you for visiting the trade attaché. Mr. Said is here. Thank you for visiting us. We spoke about such a bilateral round table. Thank you very much. Let's give the floor to this side. I would like to ask Oksana Yevdokimova to tell us about her guidance of foreign companies when they enter our market. Natalia, thank you. First, I would like to thank the association for inviting me. I want to thank Pavel Dolgov for this opportunity to share my experience. I have been observing you and your association events, envying all the speakers, and I had this idea and purpose to be an invited speaker. So my dream came true. My presentation was prepared for the companies which were going to enter Russian markets and who still have this idea on their mind, and the companies which already are in Russia. We have rich experience of work. I think my presentation and practical advice will be useful for different segments of companies. That's why we'll begin. I'll try to be on time, 11 minutes. Pavel gave me, and there is a lot of information involved and practical advice I want to share. Андрей, поговори, пожалуйста, я не могу сейчас.
Ага, все, я выпил, мне кажется, желтое.
I have rich experience in working in multinational companies. For 10 years, I worked in multinationals, focusing on sales and business development. I also have more than 12 years of communication with foreign business in Russia in different segments and areas of business. I graduated from the Stockholm School of Economics. I have MBA, Executive Management. I am also, as Irina says, an acting entrepreneur with rich experience. I have different projects in beauty industry, in education. I actively participate as an entrepreneur. You know that I want to say that I have not only theoretical but also rich practical experience in Russia, interaction with foreign clients and startups. Most importantly, I understand the distinctive features of this business. I am a founder and director of Prospectus company. 10 years ago, I realized that many foreign companies need business development manager in Russia. There are companies which don't have investment resources to open a representative office in Russia and establish production. They need officers who can start initially and build the first startup process on which the success of the company will depend on the foreign market. That's why Prospectus provides complete spectrum of services for foreign companies, for those who are in Russia, who have distributors, but the company for some reasons is not happy and have tasks to increase the market share. That's why they must come to us. We'll work on alternatives and strategies and will suggest business models which are correct in our opinion, which we'll implement. I won't dwell upon services too much because I have already described them. It's mostly clients search in Russia, development of foreign business in Russia, and in different business models. For a start, I want to share this information with you, which may be known. There are many different strategies of entering the Russian market. This indirect export, direct export strategy, investment strategies, contract strategies. We are going to speak about direct export strategy when a company wants to enter the Russian market and makes a request. And the first question, we get many requests, which is request to find distributors in Russia. I also would like to show you this matrix to explain why foreign projects and companies which don't possess large resources, why they begin with distribution models in Russia, because it takes small investment relatively, and we can suggest after we found the distribution model, we can suggest more expensive models with more serious presence on the Russian market. What I would like to mention, the companies which are looking for distributors currently. What is important here? As I said, we get many requests. In the past, we tried to process every request because we thought the more the better. Now we understand that the reputation of the company also depends on our success. And to what extent it is successful, it depends on how the client understands, recognizes all the criteria for successful entry to the Russian market. What I would like to say here mm, as I learned in 15 years, um, the client needs to develop unique trade advantages. A lot has been written about that in books. When a foreign company comes to the Russian market and says we have a unique advantage in Europe or in Italy, no, it doesn't work now. So uniqueness is a good thing, but we are not ready to go to the distributors and say that we represent a unique European investment project. That's why we analyze the market. We prepare this issue very meticulously. We have the list of all competitors in the area. We run through each competitor, and the company compiles unique trade advantages for each competitor. Then many foreign countries don't understand how pricing policy is built. It's important because when you enter the Russian market and suggested cheap prices, which you think you should raise, it will be very difficult. Or you suggested a very high price, and we cannot find clients for your products, or you don't have retail price control. It concerns clients who work FMCG sector, where there is a recommended retail price. You look at the prices of the competitors. If you have added value, you can raise the price, but with substantiation. You look, I want to tell you that any distributor, when you go there, they will open the foreign marketplace, Amazon, eBay, and will analyze your product price on the international marketplaces. If your recommended retail price is too high compared with that price, you will get negative feedback. That's why, as the second benchmark, you must use this and the coefficient. We have many interesting projects with interesting products, with recommended good retail prices, and there is some uniqueness in the product. When you start counting the coefficient of the recommended retail price divided by the X works, we come to a coefficient that the distributor cannot sell your product in all distribution channels. If you want to enter with all federal retail networks, regional marketplaces, this coefficient is very important. It must be not less than 4 or even higher than that. 3.5 is for a large mass market, for large distributors who can sell everywhere. I made here a table which shows the structure of one cosmetic product sold in retail. You have the margin of the retail network and distributor margin, and all the costs. What we recommend here, when a foreign company comes and says Russia is a great country, that's why we want not one, but we want a distributor in each region. It's a good thing. We are ready to build a distributing network like that. But if you are a foreign company which wants to import your product directly, say from Italy to Russia, you will have one importer, official distributor, who will supply it to all other distribution channels. If you're a company, foreign company, which will directly supply the distributors, say in southern region, central region, western region, etc., nothing will happen. The recommended retail price cannot be controlled. There will be a mess on the market, and successful distributing network won't work. Here, it's important. We have many examples. That's why we recommend to select the first scheme. The next recommendation, which is not a novelty, I suggest this tool for business model. Osterwalder, famous instrument. Foreign companies often use it domestically, and they want to refill for export markets, saying that we have it, we understand everything. I want to note that if the key resource to enter a foreign market is the technical support function or servicing, technical servicing cannot be done from abroad, and distributors, if they cannot do it themselves, there are cases when distributors are traders, they don't have this function of technical maintenance. So we say that your partners in Russia must be a service company to maintain technically your equipment domestically. There are probably many people who think that what if we fail? Yes, there are projects when there is discrepancy, the coefficient is not good enough, and then they ask me, what shall we do? Reject it? No, we shall understand that the Russian market is changing, tendencies in all segments, in retail, but e-commerce are changing fast. That's why there is modified models we can suggest. One of them, for example, is that you come to the distributor and he says, we are not interested. But there are many retail networks which agree with the suppliers directly. I don't say it's ideal arrangement. Of course, the ideal thing is to find a good distributor, but as an alternative, you can work at Russian marketplace, you say, enter retail networks and find partners, direct companies. There are distributors, or not quite distributors, logistic companies, which will perform your orders. So everything is possible. You shall only elaborate each strategy and model and find ways or alternatives. A little bit about the projects we have been implementing. Church and Dwight, famous American producer, international company represented in Russia, has many brands famous in Russia. When we started working with them, they had distributors in Russia, but it didn't meet their expectations. They wanted to increase the market share, sales. They wanted to assess new opportunities. It was launched in August 2020. It is now underway and developing. We perform the function of business development based on outsourcing, and the company benefits from it. If they had a representative here, it would be more expensive. The results, I think, are good. We analyzed, audited the existing distributors and market possibilities, and found new distributors We work directly. We have contact with retail networks. So the next stage will be a business model from distributing to representative logistical model. I also wanted to mention about the Indian project Shiva Pharmachem, world famous company producing ingredients for agrochemicals. They wanted to find a B2B clients. We started in 2015. The company now provides its raw material to large agrochemical producers. We accompany the goods, we are customer service, and we find new clients for new products. The Italian company Fiam, rather famous too. It produces pneumatic instruments. We worked with this company for 2 years ago. I wanted to mention that their request was to find a distributor in Russia. But in the meantime, we had to modify the model, and the company now has a representative office on outsourcing basis, because in this segment there are no distributors in Russia. So we had to review it, and we started working with B2B clients, organized technical partners who supports them technically. This project is now developing an interesting project from Australia. They produce cosmetics for children. A very interesting project, unique products, organically clean. Unfortunately, they wanted to find a distributor in Russia. Unfortunately, this project currently is underway, under construction. We couldn't fulfill the main request because the coefficient must be 4 plus. We couldn't get such a coefficient. So we suggest this company to consider direct participation model and entry to Russian marketplace to cut the value chain and optimizing this coefficient. Probably this much. I want to thank you for your attention. I would like to say that in Russia, and not only in Russia, there are companies like ours which can organize processes efficiently, and this project will be relatively investment project without many expenses. Oksana, thank you. We'll move to another part of the world. I want to give the floor to Mr. Ali Mehrez. Are you here? Mr. Ali Mehrez, Director for Industrial Agency on Investment and Development and Export. Our counterpart, Mr. Ali Mehrez. He is present.
We see you. We see you and here.
Giving me the opportunity to take part in this important event. It's a pleasure to give you some insights about how to do business in Morocco, how interesting are business opportunities in Morocco. So let me share with you some insights. I hope that will give you much more interest to make business with Moroccan counterparts or to invest directly in our country. Do you see my screen? So let's start with the most important thing when we speak about business opportunities. I think all investors around the world look at the factor that is called risk. And according to high-level advisory cabinets in the world, Morocco is at the same level of risk as countries you may know as United States, France, Qatar, Portugal, or many other Western Europe countries. There, we can merely say, we can say that in Morocco there is no risk at the level of living, or you just enjoy your business and enjoy your life. And in terms of financial risk, Morocco is one of only two countries in Africa having the investment grade rating. That means that when you bring your money to Morocco, it's almost safe. There are no risks of bunker. Other facts is Morocco is a country with strong macroeconomic fundamentals. Despite the crisis, we have steady growth of GDP, we have low inflation, and we have a contained unemployment. It has been a little bit raised due to the crisis, the COVID-19 crisis, but it's still contained. Other factors that makes Morocco as a great opportunity for businessmen or for investors looking for new opportunities in Africa is that Morocco is strategically located. When you see at the map, we are at the top north western corner of Africa. We are just 20 kilometers, less than 20 kilometers from the European coasts. We are the nearest country in Africa to Moscow or to Russia. We are the nearest country in Africa and in the Arab world to Northern America. And also in terms of flights, you have almost in less than 6-hour flights, you have access to all Western and also Northern capitals in Europe, many capitals in Africa, and also to Northern Africa. In addition to that, in Morocco, we have the first the second sea connectivity in Africa. It's 20. We are ranked 22 worldwide according to United Nations Trade Agency. Another fact that is very important when it comes to doing business with the Moroccan counterparts is that Morocco is open. Historically, Morocco has always been open to investors and to trade. And as an example of that, we have many free trade agreements with the United States. We have an association agreement with the European Union. We have a post-Brexit agreement with the United Kingdom. We have also a free trade agreement with Turkey, and we have also an agreement with Egypt, Jordan, and Tunisia, and the United Arab Emirates. And we are also a founding country of the African Free Trade Agreement. What does it mean for investors? All these facts is when you establish your business in Morocco, you have access to more than 1 billion consumers through trade agreements. It means less barriers to your products exported from Morocco. In addition to that, you also have a very conducive environment for investments. There are no restrictions on investments in local companies. You don't need to have local partners when investing in Morocco. You just bring your money, and if you want to own totally your business, you can do. You also have a convertibility regime for your investment operations. Since you bring your money formally to Morocco, you are free, totally free to bring it out and to do whatever you like with this money after that. And we also have several bilateral investment treaties that gives you more protection to your investments. There is no risk of being depossessed or that the states will size your business or something like that. It never happens in Morocco. Another interesting fact about doing business in Morocco is that we have a very competitive labor force. It's in one time it's competitive and also highly qualified compared to neighboring countries. In terms of costs to export, we have very competitive costs to export. As I told you, we are one of the most connected countries in terms of sea connectivity in the world. And in terms of doing business, we are ranked 53 in the world, but we are third in Africa behind Mauritius and Rwanda, and we are also first in North African countries. Another fact about business opportunities in Morocco is that Morocco is industrializing. If I asked you what is the first or the most important exported sector in the Moroccan economy, in few years ago, you may say that will be agrobusiness or natural resources. But since nearly a decade, it's automotive sector. It's automotive sector which is the first exporting sector in Morocco. Also, in terms of aeronautic industry, Morocco has made huge developments. And I can proudly say that in every Airbus flying around the world, there are some Moroccan parts. All these facts have been realized or have been achieved thanks to an ambitious national strategy that is called National Acceleration Plan. You can see by yourself the figures that are booming about automotive industry, also about the aerospace industry. And as I told you, in May, I can say that in all some models of Airbus flying around the world, in all of them there are some Moroccan parts. There is also an important fact that you should keep in mind when thinking about Morocco, is that Morocco is a financial and business hub to Africa. And Casablanca Finance City, which is the main financial center in Africa, gives you a very interesting package of incentives if you establish your business in Morocco, addressing Western or continental area. Either it's a regional headquarter for Western Africa or for the whole continent. And you can see on the right side of the slide some of international companies that already have established their businesses in Casablanca Finance City. At the end of my presentation, I will show you that Moroccan investors are mainly addressing African markets, and that gives you an important advantage. I think it gives, for example, Russian partners an important advantage, because we have 3 of our major banks that are established in more than 30 countries in Africa, and that gives you the possibility to have the same bank in Casablanca, in Dakar, for example, and or many other African capitals. Also, more than 60% of Moroccan foreign direct investments is oriented to Africa. I hope these facts or these insights give you more interest about doing business with Moroccan counterparts or investing in Morocco. I remain at your disposal if you have any questions. Thank you very much.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you. I think all the questions will be collected in the chat and addressed.
Да, благодарю вас. Потому что сейчас мы должны...
Because we must go on, we are pressed for time until the end of session. Once again, I want to thank you for your detailed presentation. I want to give the floor to another foreign partner, Mr. Chan Shi-chan, Director of Taiwan Foreign Trade Council. Can you hear us?
Hello.
I'm hearing you. Yes.
Да.
Прекрасно. У нас будет видео, да, если я все правильно понимаю?
We're going to have video.
Вам слово, господин.
The floor is yours, Mr. Chang Shichan.
Hi, my name is Xi Qian, director.
Я Чан Шичан, московский представитель Тайманского торгового центра. Мы занимаемся тем, что поддерживаем доступ, возможности занятия бизнесом с Россией. Тайвань имеет очень много важных факторов и производственных мощностей, способен быть качественным партнером для России. Тайвань 18-й импортер. И мы
Global largest factories in electronics industry,
Переводчик, канал.
such as
есть
Honghai,
несколько важных
TSMC, the world's largest semiconductor foundry company. And so forth, like LC, Cytronics, Micronix, Chipmount, Asus, Acer, Gigabyte, and Advantech as well. Secondly, Taiwan is picture perfect in partnership with
Во-вторых,
Russian machineries.
Тайвань
Taiwan's machinery annual output reaches US $40 billion and 80%
Тайвань является ведущим производством
cluster development. Taiwan's machineries rank high in global supply chain, such as woodworking, world number 4, machine tool, world number 5, textile machinery, world number 6, plastic and rubber machinery, world number 6, and shoe machinery, world second largest. Thirdly, to facilitate your business with Taiwan, our headquarters, Taitra, has closely lined up its global network of 63 overseas branches and 1,300 specialists. Not only we welcome you to sell your products into Taiwan by participating in the famous trade shows like Computex, Timtos, and many others. More importantly, we are ready to invite Taiwan premium companies in meeting with you for joint ventures and strategic alliance. To sum up, soon COVID-19 will come to an end. Big market boom is expected from the second half of this year onward. The spring is right now and here again. However, a single flower does not make a spring. Taiwan is expecting to partner with Russia for a new page of cooperation in ICTs and machineries. And that 100% matches with the ultimate goal of women's situation, which Taiwan has been looking for in business with Russia. Again, thank you so much for being with us today, and wish you all happiness, health, and success.
Спасибо огромное. Ну, на самом деле, я
Thank you.
принципиально, да, коллеги, все и так очень хорошо понятно. Потом будет презентация в общем доступе от человека, который занимается
For those who are into foreign trade,
английский язык, это
English is a must-have. That's why I want to give the floor to our speaker on the floor.
Сейчас я только вас найду. Ирина
Irina Berlizova, lawyer, executive partner, Legal Lab Berlizova Partners. I want to thank you, the association, for this event, for being offline, which we missed a lot. So much thanks. And we'll speak about legal aspects of entering the Russian market because it's very important to have the economic aspect of distribution and looking for partners. Legal partners are somewhat secondary, but they are fundamental issues to be solved before entering the Russian or any other international market. I am a lawyer in a family law company. We consult entrepreneurs on business establishment, on business management, minimization of cost, safe business. Amongst our clients, there are companies from IT, startups, the creative sector, and also system integrators of Russia. Entry to the Russian market. Currently, Russia is dynamically developing, trying to get back from oil dollars and invests more in business development, including small business. Over the past decade, the craft services and goods tripled. Small business is 20% of the Russian GDP. At the same time, the president tasked us to develop this indicator to 32% by 27. Oftentimes, the impression is that entry to the international market is the prerogative of large companies. However, small and medium businesses can be successful on the international market, and foreign countries can come to us, and they can be also small and medium businesses. On the international market, companies get much advantage compared with those who work on the domestic market. There's increased their income, there are more jobs, more production volumes. So entry foreign markets is very beneficial for companies. Obviously, there are difficulties in getting to the foreign markets because the company finds itself in new legal frameworks. They need to meet not only the domestic legislation, but also the legislation of the country where they go and international norms. First issue, company development begins in a new country, and Russia, after economic factors determined, is the legal form of ownership. There are options in Russia. It could be representative office, legal person, maybe individual entrepreneurship. If there is a distributor, say a private person or a trusted partner, they can act as individual entrepreneurs, and it will enable to save a lot of taxes. The taxes are the next important issue to enter other countries' networks taxes, and Russia are being liberalized over the past decade and now entering the Russian market. You can select a tax system which allows you to pay less. There is simplified taxation, may replace the VAT and profit tax, and you can pay only 6% of taxes from the income and 15% sales tax. Another important issue on the international market is intellectual property, which is registered in each country separately. The main thing is that each company registers separately for intellectual property. And intellectual property allows the companies to enter foreign markets and enables a lot of maneuver on the market. Registration of the brand is a very important aspect on the international market, although the Russian market is not considered a safe market in terms of international intellectual property. Nevertheless, steps have been made to raise the legal consciousness in this sphere, and many people believe that registration of trademarks are necessary for large companies, while small companies may do without it. The rest is legal fables when the lawyers scare their clients trying to make money. It will be very important to show the Microsoft example, which purchased Minecraft game created in 2010 and didn't register in Russia the trademark, and as a result Microsoft couldn't and cannot produce any goods with this trademark of Minecraft. There are trials with the company which was the first to register the rights for the Minecraft trademark. They didn't use this trademark in any way. Indeed, Microsoft will win the trials, but there is so much time and money spent on it, whereas you could just register the trademark at the entry to the market. Another important issue is staffing. Although staffing is not the lawyer's job, or as a rule, it's important to register the employees. In Russia, there is a unique professional tax which allows private persons to work directly with companies, which reduces the personnel costs. Such people can be attracted to projects and not permanently, and it's important to register them properly so that it is not complicated after all. As for labor relations with employees, their labor contracts must be properly drafted to allow you to make intellectual property created by employees the property of the company in which these employees work. Another important aspect on the Russian market is the choice of banks. Apparently, it's a simple issue. However, the bank is not just a bank, it's a system which provides lots of services, and most importantly, on the international market, is currency control contracts. So a bank is an important aspect. I spoke about standard and formalized approach to the Russian market entry, but the entry to the Russian market can be, on the other hand, a franchise, a license sale. In this case, you don't have to open new legal entities for software developers. It can be a joint venture with Russian developers, which will meet their needs. It will enable to save a lot of taxes because VAT will be zero rate, and it will enable you to participate in state procurement. So the entry to international markets is a complex process, and the main limiting factor is that people don't understand how to enter and what to expect. That's what Oksana mentioned, that there must be always a partner in the company, in the country where you go, to help you to implement all the tasks, to solve all the tasks, and will help you with all bureaucratic issues. And this company helps such companies too. Thank you, Irina, if I got you right. As an association, we can count on your competences to work with the company. I want to give the floor to your colleague, lawyer Vladislav Dolchenko. Can you hear us? A few words about tax administration. If we speak about those who want to work on our market. Vladislav, can you hear us? If you don't hear us, we'll wrap up. Vladislav is not connected. Then, Irina, please sum up. Thank you. I am board member of the Association for Import-Export. Today, I have already mentioned that the essence is the same thing: to enter the other country market, a foreign market, foreign companies which want to enter the Russian market. Doesn't matter what market. We have special mentality, cultural differences, taxation differences. The first thing to do when you enter a foreign market is to think, to understand, and to understand why do you come to the market, to understand that you should not follow any fables and hearsay. You must stop fearing and start communication. It's hard to find reputational partners, but we hold such international fora. The Commercial Chamber and the Moscow Commercial Chamber hold large events to show through our enterprise that there are other partners and organizations which unite logisticians with whom you can talk and start to interact, and then either go to the companies which are looking for buyers here, which is also a delicate subject because not everything is favorable on the market. Many people promise, but everybody takes money in advance. And so it's a delicate issue. And everybody wanted to be free and want to build a business, but it doesn't happen. One shall do it by trial and error. It's experience. Entry to another market is an investment. It's not a cost. Must be ready. Uh, uh, as for the special economic zones are attractive for foreigners. We are trying to do it as much as attractive. We advertise them, although we're not related to it. We want to tell the world that we have such zones. But there is one but, which people don't mention. Localization in those zones has many nuances. When the foreign company comes to this zone, what they're going to produce and where they're going to sell. The problems happen with large corporations in special economic zones, and then the economic zone doesn't know what to do with it, because for the region this is a new regime in terms of the customs, and for all the others. And there is a conflict when you input something to the customs territory. It's one thing, when you export, it's another thing. So when you work with benefits with taxes and customs, there are also customs benefits. While you are here, you get everything. As soon as you put your step out, you get only tax privileges, but the customs benefits disappear. So it's like a foreign commodity. There are many regulations, and big companies are not ready. The Russian techno policies are better aware of it. They share their experience, and the Kaliningrad zone is also special. So there is a special issue, not to lose money, not to lose presence in this special economic zone. So we must be cognizant of that. In the next audience, we coined a phrase that if a task is sophisticated, you should eat the elephant part by part. But if the task is complex, the elephant must be viewed holistically. So when you go to the international arena, you must see the entire picture. So our task as association is to show the beginning and components and communication with administration that go deeper where intervention is necessary. So we'll be looking at the elephant on the whole. Thank you, dear colleagues. We have worked for 2 hours. I want to thank the audience. Please send your questions. Come to the Moscow Association of Entrepreneurs. We are done for today. Thank you.
Свобода совершать открытия и достигать собственных вершин? Или это забота о том, кто рядом? Может, о тех, кто так далеко, но так близко к сердцу? Или это уверенность в завтрашнем дне? Сегодня, в условиях постоянно меняющегося мира, нам необходима надежная поддержка, которая появляется благодаря проверенным и честным партнерским отношениям, даря уверенность, а самое главное, делая вас свободным, чтобы сохранить для вас самое ценное – время. Ваш партнер Камертон Плюс. 20 лет в сопровождении международных сделок.
Приветствую вас! Я Павел Долгов, топ-эксперт по коммуникациям, действующий предприниматель, вице-президент Ассоциации экспортеров и импортеров. Я не просто теоретик, я практик. Мои компетенции – конгрессно-выставочная деятельность и событийная отрасль, совокупный опыт более